Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, February 24th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern. Something that many of us have been trained and pre-programmed to believe that there is a death. There's death, right? There is no death. It's actually the opposite of what we've been programmed to believe. In the midst of winter, I learned that there was in me an invincible summer, Albert Camus. We are like the sun. Our spiritual energy is eternally bright, warm, and deeply healing. There is nothing in this universe that can put our light out. Nothing in this universe that can put our light out. Our soul's brilliance will continue long after this body that we're in is gone. Our inner light is always on, blazing bright and expanding for eternity. We shine without even knowing we are shining. The light of our awareness is continuous. Now, whenever the mind clouds our vision, the sun is always shining behind it. The doubts in our minds cannot put out our light. Our light is forever. This is something the mind cannot conceive. Listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows. Native American proverb. There's always a flame burning within you. Even when you think all is lost, hopeless, and dark, it is still there. Even after your body wears out and you physically leave this amazing vehicle, you will see that the light of your luminescence goes on and on. Something inside will continue to experience reality as consciousness. Death is the greatest illusion of them all. Death is the greatest illusion of them all. Even when you want to get the most out of your time here on this planet Earth, accept deep in your hearts that there is no end to this experience called life. You must choose to know it deep down so it becomes a part of you, that death is not real. When you trust 100%, that which never dies is forever inside you, eternally free at the core. You become fearless and unstoppable in all that you do. Everything you do becomes successful. Any goal you want to achieve will manifest because you have and you will have no fear. Your approach will be unfailing because you have nothing to gain or lose. You can finally leap into the unknown with total faith, courage, enthusiasm, and joy. Always remember this. Grapes must be crushed to make wine. Diamond from under pressure. Olives are pressed to release oil. Seeds grow in darkness. So whenever you feel crushed under pressure, pressed, or in darkness, you are in a powerful place of transformation. Just trust the process. The person who realizes they are not just this body, but a soul that lives beyond it, is the only one who can truly be deeply eternal, loving, and free. Everyone else will give love with condition and be attached to some form of expectation. This is because they are attached to their ego, thoughts, and body on some level. They think that this form is all that they are, and thus are limited by it. The advanced being knows otherwise. The truly liberated soul has realized that they are pure, undifferentiated consciousness that is beyond all thought and form. It is grounded and well established in the joy and freedom of being absolute, deeply eternal love. When we accept that there is no death in this lifetime, we begin to see everything with new eyes. The typical stressful situations that we are used to suddenly become exciting, fresh, new adventures. Those people who challenge you on the deepest levels are truly your greatest teachers and are welcomed into your heart on the most intimate levels. This is how we can know and experience what peace is like. There is no longer any resistance, judgment, or fear, because we realize we are the eternal source of love. All is forgiven, and everyone is our friend. It is truly discovering heaven on earth every single day of our lives. There is a contradiction in wanting to be perfectly secure in a universe whose very nature is momentariness and fluidity. Ellen Watts. Recognition of the deathless in every one of us is the fastest way to true freedom. Recognition of the deathless in us is the fastest way to true freedom. It comes instantly from a deeper investigation of our spiritual nature and an honoring of the very essence of our being. This is what really matters most in this lifetime. The source of who you are is where the ego life ends and the spiritual life begins. The source of who you are is where the ego life ends and the spiritual life begins. You know you cannot bring any of this stuff with you when you die, so why invest so much of your time and energy into it? Do not be attached to anything that you can place a label or name upon. Do not be attached to anything that you can place a label or name upon. Everything one day will fall away from you, like old leaves on a maple tree when hit by the autumn breeze. Simply invest all your time and unconsciousness exploring the eternal light and love that you actually are. It is like we were told as children to be afraid of a snake that is really a piece of rope. Sure looks like a snake in the dark when the lights are dim. Yet when you turn on the light and you see the truth, you just begin to laugh and laugh and laugh. When you fully accept that death is not real, then you really start to smile and truly become alive. Relax into your heart for the next 24 hours of your life, knowing that you will never, ever die. Stop being so afraid of living this life. Let go of everything you think is real and let yourself be completely alive. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. Wayne Dyer. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. When you do this, you will stop procrastinating and start doing everything you always wanted to do. You'll stop holding back your love, your words of appreciation, and your sacred heart energy, and every meaningful thing you wish to say to those who you care most about. You start to share the gold which you always felt could not be shared. In truth, there is nothing to be afraid of. Everything is always on a divine cosmic plan. The projection of our minds have created in who and what we think death is, or who we are is still a small slice of the truth. The totality of you is beyond what you can imagine. The totality of you is beyond what you can imagine. Everything will change when your desire to move on exceeds your desire to hold on. Everything will change when your desire to move on exceeds your desire to hold on. Alan H. Cohen. You don't have to be afraid anymore. None of us do. Take 10 minutes today to look deep into your bathroom mirror. You may judge what you see, yet know that whatever you believe is there can change. If you're willing to look at yourself differently, a tiny shift in perception is all it takes to step into the deathless experience of life. This is my invitation for you. Look deeper into the mirror every day. Look beyond the physical form. Open your mind to see what is underneath your skin. You will find that the mind tries to control this experience. It will try to control it. It may attempt to manipulate and micromanage what you see. The mind is so used to being in control. To live a life without fear is the purpose of your life. Yet, if the mind hears there is nothing to worry about, it will truly get worried. Okay? The mind hears if there is nothing to worry about, it will truly get worried. The mind is used to its job of being afraid and time-bound in the 3D world of polarity thinking. It doesn't know anything about living for an eternity. It seems absurd. There are so many practical things to accomplish, and being absolutely trusting would mean that nothing would get done. Give your mind the option to explore what is behind door number 3. Imagine what it may be like to just explore the sensation and knowing that you are an eternal being who will go on forever. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Once you know with absolute certainty that nothing can trouble you but your own imagination, you come to disregard your desires and fears, concepts and ideas, and live by truth alone. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. When you know with absolute certainty that nothing can trouble you but your own imagination, you come to disregard your desires and fears, concepts and ideas, and live by truth alone. Our whole journey on this planet is literally to shed the mind and the ego. That means that we will end up freeing ourselves. We know that we're wearing a suit. Okay? These bodies are a suit. We inhabit them. And we experience them. Suit wears out, we get rid of it. Move on. See, because when you begin to choose to embrace the understanding that there is no death, say, you leave the body. You, the God, is eternal and forever. But you can see, you can understand that lifetime after lifetime, generation after generation, we don't know that. We're like wandering generalities. We don't know it. We don't know that we're the God in the body. Who tells us that? When you come into the baby body, do you have people telling you what you are, who you are? No. They identify you with your suit, your skin. And so they identify you with that, but that's not you. Is a suit you? When you put on a suit of clothes, is it you? No, it's not you. Isn't that interesting? How we view things. And we all do it. None of us are exempt from it. But you imagine when you discover the fact that you're deathless, that you're the God, the true God within that body. Did you see how things would absolutely shift on this planet? Yeah, I'm done with this suit, so I'm leaving tomorrow. Oh, great. Where are you going? Not sure yet. Not sure. Well, maybe we'll bump into each other in another life. Possibility. You guys enjoy yourselves. See, those conversations, right now to a lot of people that seem just absolutely ludicrous or absurd. We get attached, say. This is why right now on this planet we view death, right? We view it. And we embrace it because we're taught and pre-programmed that death is eventually going to take you. And that's a lie. Really is. Because when you discover that you're the God in the body and not the body, and the body is temporary, it isn't real. Anything that changes is not real. So as the body changes and ages and goes through cycles and situations, both emotionally and physically, it isn't real. So it'd be like this. That in the future, in fifth dimension Earth, New Earth, it'll be just common ground because more and more people will begin to discover who and what they are in the body. And the conversation, there won't be funerals. Understand that. There will not be funerals. They won't exist. You will, you celebrate, You kind of, and not awake, I'm not talking about awake. You're easy going with it. It isn't an obstacle. But we get attached to these bodies emotionally. See, when you get attached to something, whatever it may be a house that you live in, right? You can enjoy it, right? But you don't attach yourself to it. Here today, gone tomorrow type thing, right? And the adventure is the life that we're experiencing. and all the things that are around that are temporary. You know that while you're wearing that suit, you're not going to be in that house forever, or the dwelling. You're not going to have all these things forever. They'll be gone. That's why in Egyptian times and other cultures, all their valuables, or what they thought that they were the valuables, would be buried with them, all in the crypt, whatever. So they could take them into the afterlife. That's all bicameral. You don't take anything. You leave it all behind. And you move on. It's just an experience. But as the ego mind is so used to being in control and charge all the time, it's the one that dictates these patterns and beliefs and mechanisms. Where we worry about leaving the body because we haven't the knowledge. We're ignorant to the fact of who and what we are. So what do? We fear mortality. Now, if you're not the body, how could you be involved with mortality? Does it make any sense to you? Why? What's the reason for that? Ego mind. It's just kind of like, it's getting time for me to leave this body. Drop the suit. Quite exciting, actually. Especially when you're outfitted with the knowledge that you're the light, right? And that you are totally free. And that you are God. So you go anywhere you want. Do anything you want in your spirit form. Anywhere in existence and beyond. Everything and nothing. You're it. Now you can imagine, all right? You come into a body and you say to yourself, because you're aware and because you know who and what you are, right? So your God, the God that you are, enters the body and you don't have any memory lapse. Your mind's not blanked and you know exactly who and what you are. And you say, all right, we're going to have some fun in this life. Well, I know how to manifest things instantaneously. I will use this new suit I have to help me maneuver in this physical material world here. And then I'll start laying the groundwork for my life. I mean, it's fascinating. But it is an entirely and a completely void of ego mind. Okay? It's like, you're talking with somebody and say, how does that body fit you? Yeah, it's not bad. I'm grateful for it. I'm able to do everything that I came here to do and move around, experience, and enjoy. And it's good. How about you? Yeah, I have no complaints. Aren't these bodies amazing? Yeah, they are. They really are. So it's time to break away from the ego mind. It's time to leave the bicameral society. Really, truly. And the only way we do that is increasing our vibrational frequency knowingly, not falsely, but through the heart mind. And that we're cognizant of the fact that we increase our vibrational frequency and we focus on what we want, not what we don't want. That's the key. When you imagine people that are heavily steeped in ego mind, and they believe all of this stuff floating in front of them. They believe it. They believe it's real. So they're involved in fear, worry, stress, anxiety, anger. And they leave gratitude alone, and they leave being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with themselves alone. And they leave their God alone, and they're immersed in the body in the physical material world. They have no understanding at all, not even a smidgen of who and what they are. And they won't, not in this lifetime. And you can choose to breathe it in, right, where you're expanding. And when your eyes see things and your ears hear things, they're being registered and stacked and racked. And all of that information is stored in the subconscious mind, as we know, and it's played back randomly. Now, when you're looking at something, right, or you're reading something, or you're listening, and it really is prefabricated falsities. It isn't true. Now, the ego mind will believe it, but the God that you are won't. And when you let go of these things, we hold on and we attach to so many things. That's why it's so hard to let go of them, surrender them. And believe me, when you experience things in life where you lose everything, like in a blink of the eye, everything's gone. You have no idea what you're going to do. You have no idea how you're going to shelter yourself. You have no idea about any of that stuff. So it's a choice. The choice is that it isn't anything massive or monstrous. It isn't a big deal. And when you don't take it seriously and you don't take it as a big deal and you just look at it as, hey, this is an experience. Things are constantly changing. And understand, that's all an illusion that we learn from. But then you start to realize being attached to things is suffering. It really is. You suffer. Have you ever noticed that when you're attached to something and the universe says, no, you don't need that anymore, you hold on to it tighter? Tighter. You hold on to it tighter. You buy a house, you like the house. You enjoy the house. You enjoy the surroundings and everything, right? You might add to it, so on and so forth. But it's not permanent. We don't realize that everything around us is not permanent. These bodies we're in are not permanent. They're temporary. Everything is temporary. The only thing that isn't, and the only thing that's real, is you, the God within that body. That's it. That's real. That's not temporary. So you can understand why we create a temporary stage each lifetime just to experience. That's it. We create these stages, fill them full of stuff, right? All kinds of stuff, and experience. And then, a very short period of time, blink of the eye, it's time to leave the body. We just say, okay, I'm out of here. But you don't have fear. You don't have the fear of the unknown because you know. And of course there is the unknown because you're not sure about what your next adventure is going to be. But you do know that you're not going, when you leave the body, right? You do know that you're not going to go into the light. Say, you're just not going to do it. And you'll know that as the God that you are because you learned it in the physical material world, in the physical form, in the body. You discovered it. See, because they'll zap you. The controllers will zap you, and then you won't have memory again. So you don't go into the light, and you don't follow that holographic process because you know that you're the light. and as a God, you will say, I am the light. That light is a trap. And we've all fallen for it for a very long time. Hook, line, and sinker. And you know why? See, the reason is that, and the reason they blank us is that all of us will discover that. And they're done. They're done with this matrix. It's over. And that's why they zap us. They zap our God, the God that we are, before we go into the body, and they zap us as we're leaving the body. So we never have the opportunity, okay, to discover who and what we are and maintain that understanding. Period. We're totally lost. But when you don't go into the light and you know who and what you are, when you leave the body, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The only time it happens is when you accept this light that incessantly is following you as the God that you are. And it follows you. It just constantly is after you. It wants you to come into it. And of course, you know that that's a joke. It's all an illusion. And we've been played long enough as the gods that we are on that illusion. We're discovering. We know, okay, not to be attached to anyone or anything ever. That's a different twist on things, isn't it? Not to be attached to anyone or anything ever. And if it's here today, great, enjoy it while you can, and when it's gone, it's gone. That's it. Okay. Some things stay with us throughout the stay in these bodies, right? The life in these bodies. Some things will stay with us. Other things drop away, right? You know, habits change, attitudes change, perspectives change, and we're constantly evolving. But when you let go of everything, and you know that it is temporary, it's fleeting, and you enjoy it while it's there. That's it. And you know that it will one day be gone. You will one day be gone. And when I mean gone, you'll be out of that body. And that's why it makes a lot of sense for us to stay in the body as long as we can, right? So that we can learn as much as we can. Big difference, 90 years and a few thousand years, isn't it? Big difference. You learn a lot more as you go. Accumulate a lot more knowledge as you go. This is a super advanced civilization when you're able to do that. Now, not always, because there are some civilizations that live to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 in one body, 10,000, 20,000 in one body. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're mature. I know that sounds silly, but it is true in some cases. And that's a shift. That is our choice. You sooner or later, everybody's going to discover. It's just a matter of when. Okay. Those who discover, those who are awake, move on. They move on. Okay. Those who are bicameral don't move on. They just repeat. And then one day they wake up. So you can see it's kind of a sifting. It's a sifting. It's a cleansing process, so to speak. Where those of us who are awake move on to newer, those that aren't won't. because of the vibrational frequencies that we've chosen to increase on our own volition. See what I mean? You're aware, which is huge, because the majority of this planet is unaware. Seriously, it is unaware. It doesn't have a clue. The civilization I'm speaking of, not the planet. So every evolving process picks out a certain handful of awareness. And then those of us who are aware move on, which means we stay in the higher vibrational frequency, and then we live with the God that we are. Okay? We experience physical form, but we live with the God that we are within the body. And we view everything else as entertainment. And through entertainment, you experience things, you have adventures. And that's what this is all about. Now, it all depends. You don't know it, but you may manifest something that you're not consciously aware of that is going to teach you something that you need to learn. In fact, that you may be overdue to learn. Now, to you, it's not pleasant. Usually it's not pleasant. It's challenging. But it depends on how you roll with it, see? And you acknowledge the fact is that I created this, I manifested this. Now I've got to take a look at it and see what it is I'm going to learn from it. So you're open with it through the heart-mind. You're not closed fist with it. You're not denying it or running from it or trying to suppress it. You're embracing it. You say, this is something that, now I see. Now I see. Now I understand that I'm learning. This is something, and I'm deeply grateful for this. And then it fades out. You got what you needed and it's gone. Other times we create stuff that's fun. It's just fun, right? It's what we're having. We're having fun here. We're lighthearted, and we don't take this life or any lifetime that we're in really that seriously. It's a visit more than anything. It isn't a permanency, and when you know that, say, it's phenomenal. Now imagine when you know, for the most part, not 100%, because there's always that variance of certain possibilities coming into play. But hey, I'm going to, all intents and purposes, I'll be in this body for 3,000 more years. Young, healthy, and vibrant. So then you leave that alone and you live your life. And you enjoy it. The ego mind becomes less and less because you get to the point of not needing it. And it understands that you don't need it anymore. And it eventually fades away. So your whole perspective is just a different understanding. I mean, it's really exciting. You can feel it in your heart mind as it's bubbling up, the bliss from within of what we're looking at with this transition that we created for ourselves. Okay, it's all about you. Always has been. Which means you understand who and what you are. You discover it. You then begin to practice these different understandings. You say, I know I'm not the body. I am the God within the body. I'm quite frankly, I'm enjoying being in the body because I can experience a lot of things that as a God I can't experience. So I'm not able to because I am not physical. I'm not organically physical, material physical. So this is why we enter material physical. This is why we create material physicals so that we can enter them and experience what that's like. And this is why we become so attached to these bodies without knowing who and what we are because we get addicted to it. The smell, the taste, all these feelings and experiences, right? And as the body ages, it gets older, instead of saying, that people say that they believe that life sucks, then they're going to manifest a life that sucks, no matter what stage they are in that body. But if they say, or when they say, life is absolutely phenomenal, it's exuberating. From the day I discovered who and what I was, what I am, opens your eyes up to many things, and you start to realize this is absolutely phenomenal. And it's interesting because some people, they'll have a vehicle, right, and they maintenance it and service it, and then they put new parts on that need that wear out, and then constantly they polish it and clean it, and it's always looking nice, right? But when it comes to their bodies, it's the opposite. Isn't that amazing? The body's the same thing. You maintain it. You service it. You take care of it. Make sure everything lasts as long as it possibly can in a healthy environment. And then you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Sure as heck, you won't get in, none of us would. I don't believe any of us would. We wouldn't get into a vehicle, right, if we knew that it was not roadworthy. We knew that there were some things wrong with it. We were going to take a long trip. None of us would, kind of tooth and nail it and go, well, I'll just wing it. If I, break down to break down. Break down out in the middle of nowhere, break down out in the middle of nowhere. So what we do is that we make sure it's roadworthy. Not saying that nothing can happen, that there's always a possibility of something happening. Have you ever had a brand new vehicle and it breaks down? A defect or something, right? So you kind of make a comparison. You say, it makes makes very valid sense that this is what we do with these bodies as we do with everything else that we have an interest in, and we want it to be good to go, right? And we have no limitations. We never did. It's society that's taught us that there are limitations. It's society. And who created this society? Well, we've all had a hand in it through generations and lifetimes. When was the last time that you remember a place, a situation, but a time where you felt absolutely free? Where you felt not a care in the world, you were just floating. You weren't thinking about, worrying about, stressing about anything. You were just floating. Total freedom. Felt absolutely amazing. And you ever, this is really interesting because when we get stuff, right? We all get stuff. And the stuff, we enjoy it here and there. Some of the stuff we never use. We just get the stuff. So maybe one day I'll need it. Now, have you ever done this? Have you ever said, well, maybe I better get that because I may need it one day? I know this sounds silly, right? This is what we do. And we go, I mean, and you can't throw it out. You can't give it away because you believe you're going to need it. And But then you say, no, I'm not going to get it. Not going to get it. And something comes along where you go, why didn't I get that when I could have gotten it? Because it would have made things a lot easier. But you didn't get it. And then other times you get stuff, put it somewhere, right? And a year goes by, 2 years go by, and you never used it. And then all of a sudden something occurs, and you go, son of a gun. I know, I've got something I can use for this. See? So it's interesting how we react to things and how the ego mind is usually directing things. But all that stuff is temporary. Everything is temporary. It's just, and with that understanding, you say, yeah, it's great. But, and then we have nostalgia, right? Memories that come in, where you might have something that holds memory of past times that were pleasant and that hold those memories. So you keep it for that purpose. It's like a lot of people will have vehicles that have a lot of memories in the family. So they'll take those vehicles and they'll recondition them, and on occasion drive them on a sunny Sunday afternoon and reminisce, right? It's fun to reminisce. It's not fun to stay there, though. We all know that. So we go in the past and we reminisce and we look at things and, well, I remember this, and as you're driving along or traveling along, and you say, oh, I remember that, that was fun, and it all happened with this. So heirlooms or, family items that we pass down from generation to generation, that everything has a frequency. Everything has an essence. Everything has an energy. See, when you walk into like a thrift store, antique store, and I used to refurbish antiques years ago, but when you walk in, you're aware all those energies, all those frequencies that have been left behind by those who used the item, who looked at the item, who carried the item, who filled the item, whatever. But they're not gone. They're there. They float around. So it's always good to keep yourself protected when you walk into those places, because some of those essences will attach to these bodies. And you'll get a feeling of like, wow, what was that? It's like I almost remember having this chest of drawers years ago in my bedroom. But I know I never did, because it's other people's experiences that have been left behind. I kid you not. What you, right, in the life that you're in, but it was them. Have you ever been drawn to something and you have no reason to understand, you don't know why? Why are you drawn to it? It could be anything, but it's like a magnet and you're pulled to it. And you go, why is this? Why am I've got to get this? And you gravitate towards it. Because, see, we're all plugged into each other. And all the memories and all the experience and all the lifetimes are there with each other. So we're drawn to certain things. Now, it's not like a whole group of people are drawn to the same thing. Some people go, what? Why in the heck would you want to get that? I don't know. It's just there's some vibratory frequency that's guiding. I got to get it, period. I don't know why, but I'm going to get it. And then later on, it unfolds. But you can practice the understanding that everything's temporary. It's not like tossing it out the window, like a lark. You understand. And then you begin to enjoy things more. And you begin to appreciate things a lot more that you didn't before. It's like you say, you don't know how long you're going to be in that body. You don't know how long you're going to wear that suit. So enjoy the things while you're in it. Not the worry, not the stress, not the fear, not the anxiety through the ego mind, but to progress into the heart mind and let go. Let go of this stuff. It doesn't service any purpose at all. And the ego mind is the one that attaches to everything. And then we begin to step outside of the mind. We leave the mind and the ego alone, and we watch. You're watching. And that's a fine line, because the ego mind will push you into judging, right? But you're just watching. It's a difference, a big difference. When you're watching, you're not judging or anything. You're not evaluating, analyzing, or nothing. You're just watching. Period. And I know, that there's people that just, as far as at peace and joy, they'll sit somewhere and just watch. They'll sit in nature and watch, listen. Nature has the best orchestra ever in existence and beyond. When you just sit and listen, you don't hear horns beeping and bangs and clangs and all kinds of noises. You hear nothing. You sit in nothingness. You look around you and you say, this is all an illusion. And I know that, but it's great that we've created it to experience it. And I know that one day I will leave the suit behind and I'll move on to something else. But in the moment, which is all any of us will ever have in these physical forms, in the moment, I am elated every moment to be in this body, with all that goes with it. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Sometimes things don't go exactly according to our ego's plans. We then have a choice how we wish to react. We can try to control things and experience a lack of trust, or we can simply choose to trust in the process and be happy. Whatever you choose today, remember that happiness is always the best choice. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, to continue our reverse aging health call. And Saturday, February 25th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Stay in deep gratitude 24/7. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times, no matter what's going on outside of you.